Hey, good evening to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com. I am in Lake City, Florida. Going to do this video update here, talking about now Tropical Storm Laura and now newly designated Tropical Storm Marco in the Caribbean Sea. A lot going on. A lot of people watching this, from Texas all the way across the Gulf Coast states, Florida, down into the Caribbean. And that includes the Western Caribbean and all the way over to the Eastern Caribbean with, places like the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and everything in between. So a lot happening. I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. Just a quick update, a look at things, kind of talk about what's happening and what to look for in the days ahead. This just updated here. We now have Tropical Storm Marco, TD14 now Marco, in the Northwest Caribbean. And let's just look at this from a satellite perspective real quick. Here's Marco right here, fairly small overall. It's not a very large system. You can see pretty good upper level low sitting up here. Winds around this area, pretty favorable overall, but a small vortex, a small concentrated area of energy, not a large, massively spiraling tropical storm. Over here we have Laura, which is trying to get its act together. Pretty good envelope of energy associated with that. Both of these systems originating as African easterly waves that can be trekked all the way back to Africa. Several days ago they moved off the coast, actually going obviously from east to west, but here they are in the western part of the Atlantic basin now, causing issues, causing problems. So let's go over to the Hurricane Center homepage again. Hopefully some of these graphics have been updated. Yep. So here's Marco. That's the 5 o'clock key messages. Really not much change there. This is the 8 o'clock advisory. They're just now putting stuff out. Let's look at the 11 o'clock. Here we are. Tropical Storm Marco forms over the northwestern Caribbean. Hurricane watch, tropical storm warning, etc. Not much changes here. Hazards affecting land, wind, rainfall, and some areas could get 3 to 6 inches there. So that's something to keep in mind if you're along the Yucatan. This will bring some heavy rains, and as you can see from the satellite imagery, the overall mess of storminess even extends up across Florida associated with this front, this trough that's out in the area that'll lift out. This is actually a big key. This is going to lift out, and we're going to see ridging build in over the top, as it were, and that's going to have a big influence on what happens with these systems going forward. So again, let's refresh the Hurricane Center page, and I'm looking to see if these graphics and whatnot will update. If they don't, that's fine. We can move along. Let's see what's happening with Laura. This advisory updated at 11 as well. Pressure still 1,008, still 45 miles per hour. Not a lot of changes. That's the bottom line here, okay? And that's the main thing to focus on with both of these systems. Just not a lot going on in terms of major changes, except that Marco is now named instead of being TD14. Both of these systems expected to move into the general direction of the Gulf of Mexico at some form or fashion. Where they end up, huge question mark that nobody knows the answer to just yet. And there's been a lot of talk on social media, very inaccurate talk about these two merging and creating some kind of a superstorm. Doesn't work that way. Not with tropical cyclones. You do get that from time to time when you get these mid-latitude systems that come across that have baroclinic energy with them. That's atmospheric energy, temperature differences, and then you have a tropical cyclone coming up out of the tropics that represents a lot of heat. Those can mix together and you get like the perfect storm. Or you get Sandy. Sandy was generated from powerful trough energy over the eastern, I'm very much oversimplifying it, powerful trough over the eastern United States that represented energy in the atmosphere. Sandy came along, I don't remember the exact track, and then kind of did something like that and got entrained into this system as the trough energy sort of devoured the heat energy from Sandy back in 2012. That's not how these things work down here. These two tropical cyclones would negatively affect each other trying to rotate around maybe a common axis. That's called the Fujiwara effect. Don't even worry about that. And these nonsense superstorm could be born, whatever. It's ridiculous. It seriously is. So as I've been yapping here, let's see if if I can make me go away. See if the maps have updated here. We click on Marco, and let's see if that's updated. And it has. See, I killed some time, and there you go. So forecast to stay a tropical storm the entire way into Texas. And this is extremely important because the weaker this stays, the stronger I think Laura gets. And while I was thinking yesterday and today that I had my money on what is now Marco being the marquee event here out of the two, that's shifting. As everything shifts, it's just like gameplay. Teams shift their strategies based on what's going on, whether they're winning or losing, and trying to figure out their advantages. This will certainly have impacts for the Texas coast. I'm not downplaying that at all, but it looks like this is going to be hard-pressed to become a hurricane. It could, and then if that happens, and if this is actually much weaker, I see it taking a further south route into maybe southern Texas, and then that opens the door here for Laura to do what those hurricane models have been showing all along, for the most part. HWRF, HMON, they may not make it a major hurricane. It may not become a major hurricane here, but that's not the point. I was just talking with my colleague Greg Nordstrom about this. The point is those hurricane models, HMON and HWRF, that have been blowing up Laura in the vicinity of this area for several days now, run after run after run. Don't focus on the particulars of that. They're showing you the potential, and the pattern is explosive if things come together. And it could happen after land interaction. If Laura stays north of the islands, it could be before, whatever. There's a lot of ways to interpret this. And I do think that those hurricane models, specifically the HWRF and the HMON, are on the overall right path. I should have stuck with that gut feeling all along. But you know what? That's why I am in Lake City. That's why I'm in Lake City. And even though it's quite disorganized now, it doesn't matter for later. These things can come back very quickly. Make no mistake about that. All right, so here's the 11 o'clock map for Laura. Yes, it's looking like lots of land interaction here as it goes south of Puerto Rico and the islands of the Northeast Caribbean here, right over the Hispaniola, over Cuba, and then into the Gulf. And if you don't think this is enough time for it to ramp up, you're gravely mistaken. It absolutely can. And if we get unlucky and this goes far enough south of these islands like that, or far enough north like this, it's a whole different story. So we need to watch this very closely. You folks in the Keys, you're going to be the most at risk here for Florida's impacts. The central Bahamas and points northwest, I don't see much worry at all overall. Some rain bands, etc. But I do think now this is going to be the key event, Laura, as opposed to Marco over here. Just from the data that I'm looking at, my conversation with Greg Nordstrom, that's what we believe. That's our instinct. There's a difference between our instinct trying to tell us what's possibly going to happen and a forecast. But anyway, again, that's why I'm in Lake City. I'll talk about that more in a moment. In fact, real quick. So looking at the overall pattern, again, Laura down here, Marco over here, Texas. Yep, you got to worry about Marco to some extent, but I think that the impacts from Marco are going to pale in comparison to what we eventually see from Laura over here. And the key is how much land interaction. If it's like this, it has a much greater chance of being extremely powerful through this area. If it's right over the islands, it could still become very powerful because, and this is so important, the conditions are going to just get better in the atmosphere. Laura has not reached its full potential yet. So there is a ceiling that exists if it goes over those islands. In other words, it goes over the islands, it cannot become a powerful hurricane. But it's not already a powerful hurricane moving over those islands going downhill. So it can still reach a certain ceiling over those islands. Make no mistake about that. And then once it clears those hurdles, it has a clear shot to the finish line. You understand that? Please do, because we've seen it happen before. Ike went over some of these islands back in 2008. I don't remember the exact trajectory. I believe it was something like this, that it kind of milled around, and it never fully became, Cat 5 or nothing like that, but 110 mile per hour with a 20-foot surge in Bolivar Peninsula was bad enough, okay? So there is time for Laura to really become a formidable system. Please don't lose sight of that. And this is not hype. I'm not trying to keep you holding on. The guidance suggests it. Trust me. Okay, we have to watch this very close. And you'll see. I'll let the fruit bear witness. The tree will bear the fruit, and you shall see. And hopefully it won't be too severe. I don't want to be right, put it that way. Remember in Jurassic Park when Ian Malcolm finally, Dr. Malcolm was like, man, I hate being right all the time. It's not me being right. It's looking at the pattern. The pattern fits, and I'm trying to keep you abreast of that. So anyway, I'm in Lake City, right here. Let's get rid of me again. And so the good thing about this is we can head down this way and get down to the Keys if we need to, or we can just make our way gradually over to Gulfport over here, meet up with Greg Nordstrom. Brent is going to be in Orlando tonight. He flew up from the Virgin Islands. And so this is a great starting point, Lake City, for wherever we need to go. Do we need to go south tomorrow or west tomorrow? The good thing is we're already here. Mike Farrow, my colleague from Wilmington, longtime friend of mine, helping to do the driving, help with logistics, etc. So we're ready. And I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight, and we're going to be ready to go tomorrow. Ready to go and do what? Again, I talked about this before. It's making you aware of it. I really don't like soliciting for you to sign up for something, but A, this is how we fund what we do, so I kind of have to, and B, it's amazing what we are doing. I mean, it really is. And this is the level that gets you the best overall access, $10, but even for $1 a month. If just a quarter of my social media folks signed up for $1 a month, it would just be $1 a month, and I'd be good to go. We could fund whatever we want and literally have a staff. And we're going to get there. I promise you that's going to happen. But the $10 a month gives you access to all of our cams, the live chat, the original series, etc. We do all that through our HurricaneTrack Insider site. I'll show you that in a moment. The $25 level, I'll mail you one of our tracking maps. You have your name at the end credits of a future episode of our original series programming, and so forth and so on. You can go check this out. The link to it is in the description of this video. And this is what the Insider site looks like. We have tracking tools, live video. This is our chat. These are real people. This is Tim, one of our patrons in the Virgin Islands. Julia, Nikki signed up recently. This is Chris. Chris, the stuff Chris has done for us. Wow, Scott, he's been a member for a long time. And my goodness, there's Hal. Hadn't seen Hal in a while. That's good. I was a little worried about Hal. Hal from Tallahassee. I'm glad I looked at this. Anyway, sorry I got excited because I haven't seen him on here for a while. I was kind of worried about him. That's funny. This is truly a community. It really is. And you can see all the stuff we talk about. And my Twitter's embedded in here. So you get all that. And then the live cams. Already got one going in San Juan, on the north side of San Juan, looking into the Atlantic out there. Carlos, one of our Patreon members from San Juan, set up this camera for us. I'm telling you, it's like a co-op of awesome, amazing people. This is St. John, and this is at Brent's house. He set up that camera. It's permanent. The camera in San Juan is one of our mobile cams unmanned cams that Carlos set up tonight. And then this is Tim's camera over in St. Thomas facing north. Tim is also one of our supporters. This is what we all get to do together. That's what this is all about. I might be the head, lead singer of the band, so to speak. You guys are all part of the rest of the band that makes this possible. You're investors in the future of this, and you get to benefit from it. You learn stuff. We all work together. It's the most, I would say it's probably one of the most incredible interactive weather communities on the internet. And I mean that. And if you're a member of it already, you know what I'm talking about. And we're just going to get better from here. I've been doing this for about 15 years. This whole live video subscription, quote unquote, based model. Now it's the age of crowdfunding, and that's how we're able to do what we're doing. So big day ahead tomorrow, figuring out where we're going to go, what we're going to do. All of that's going to be really based on, I think Laura more than Marco. But we're in Lake City. We'll figure it out, and we'll be able to either go west or south, and we'll see what happens together. All right? Don't forget, I'm on Twitter at HurricaneTrack. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you like this video, share it with your friends and family. That's great. The more people that learn from what we're doing, the better. At the end of the day, the other thing that these folks do by allowing me to do this as my career is it affects the greater good. 90% of what I do doesn't cost a single penny. It doesn't. And we are affecting the greater good. So, that's the bottom line. I want to help impact people in a positive way. All right, I'm going to get some sleep. That'll impact me in a positive way. You guys should do the same. No staying up for the Euro, okay? Don't do it. It's not worth it. Get some sleep. If you're in the path of these systems, you're going to need it. And it helps to fight off disease and illness and all that stuff, too, when you get a good night's sleep. Advice from a dad. You guys have a good rest of your evening. As always, thanks for tuning in and giving me a part of your day. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow. We'll have the live camera running on YouTube, available to everybody for free, quote unquote. No monetization, no dollar to have to pay for it. No. The public vehicle cam is supported by our patrons, and so we will always make that available to everybody. That'll be going tomorrow once we get moving and figure out what we're going to do next. All right? Have a good rest of your night. I'm Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.